Om Shri Sai Ram. Dear students, welcome back once again to the class 10th State Syllabus Science Textbook 2 and the chapter Heredity and Evolution. And today, under this chapter, the last part, that is part 8, which mainly deals with one more evidence for evolution, that is fossils, which we will discuss later after recapping the previous part's main points and also checking and clearing up the assignment 7 questions and answers. In our previous class, we came to know that the evidences for the evolution mainly is being interlinked, where the evolution and the classification are interlinked together. Only on the scientific way of organizing, grouping, naming on the basis of a particular character, we can classify the whole creation. With that classification, we come to know how the organisms have developed from simple to complex. Hence, both evolution and classification are interlinked. Further, we continued the evidences for evolution, such as homologous organs, where the organs have different function but same structure and origin. The four limbs of frog, the four limbs of hand of human being, the four limbs of lizard. Their structure is same but the function varies. Such organs, homologous organs. Further, we continued about analogous organs, where the function is same but the origin differs. The wing of a bird differs from the wing of a bat. No doubt both help in flying, but their origin differs. Then the vestigial organs, useless organs, no any function and they are in reduced form, but they are present. Such organs are called vestigial organs. Further, we continue with the second area for the evidence of evolution, embryological evidence. The embryonic stage in the vertebrates, from the birds, the amphibians, the pisces or the fishes and the mammals, the human being, the embryo looks very similar. But as the development goes, the progress and the complexity of the organism development changes, which proves that embryological evidences or embryological study tells us that evolution has taken place. Our answers for assignment 7. The first question: how are the areas of study, evolution and classification interlinked? As we already discussed, that we classify the organisms according to their characteristics, which is similar to the things what we analyze in evolution. Hence, both areas of study are interlinked. So, classification is done on the basis of a particular character. When we collect the organisms and group them, and we also give a name on the basis of a particular character. With that characteristic itself, we come to know that development has gradually taken place. Hence, both evolution and classification are interlinked. Second question: can the wing of a butterfly and the wings of a bat be considered homologous organs? Why or why not? Very happy to see that Manoj and Rahul are raising their hands to tell the answer. They are not homologous organs. Sure, you are perfect. Congrats. No, the wings of a bat and the butterfly are not homologous organs. Why? Because they do not have common structure and origin. The wing of a butterfly and the wing of a bat are analogous organs. They have same function. Both wings, the wings of a butterfly as well as the wings of a bat, help in flying. So function is same, but their origin differs. Hence, they are analogous organs and not homologous organs, since they have common functions, that is to fly. A third question, match the following. You have seen three pictures under the Roman letter 1, 2 and 3. And here you are observing P, Q, R, S under the B column. Vertebrates, prokaryotes, invertebrates and unicellular. Correct matching for number 1. It is Q, that is prokaryotes. They don't have true nucleus. Underdeveloped, primitive, genetic material is being scattered. So for number 1, the bacteria, we have the prokaryotes, correct answer. The second one, the euglena, they are unicellular, single-celled organism. The third one, frog is being given in the picture, and the correct option is vertebrates. They have backbone. Very happy to see there Sankalp, Arpan, Naman written correctly the matched up following. Very good. Rest of others, if you have some mistakes done, try to correct it. Dear students, today's part, the last part of this chapter, Heredity and Evolution, the part 8, which mainly deals with fossils. What these fossils are? In a short way to remember, dead remains of plant and animal parts or whole, to tell you all. Remains of the ancient organisms, and the study of these fossils under the separate branch of biology, which we call it as paleontology. So paleontology is the study of fossils. We want to know the word-to-word meaning. Paleos, old. Ontos, being. Logos, steady. So the old things, what these old things are, which are deeply buried in the earth crust, plant and animal part or plant and animal wholesomely, deeply buried in earth crust for more number of years. And after digging, if we get the remains of them, then we call them as fossils. And that study is paleontology. They are the remains or impressions of the dead animals and plants that lived in the remote past. You remember the Jurassic Park, a beautiful movie, the dinosaurs. Now we don't find these dinosaurs. They're all animated dinosaurs which you have observed in that movie. So the dinosaurs are the remains of the dead animals and plants. Where do these fossils occur? The fossils occur in sedimentary rocks, not only in them, also found in the peat, amber, lava and snow regions, which provide direct evidence for evolution. Which are the facts that have been noted by the study or from the study of fossils? The evidences, we came to know that by studying the fossils, extinct species, earlier some species were there, now they are not available, they are extinct, they are no more. So we came to know that extinct species details. Further, these extinct species resemble the organisms which are existing now. It is sure, we always quote that the human being come from apes, Mangadinda Manava, we quote. But now, as the technology and the development in the various areas have improved in the modern world, it is been under the proof that human beings have not come from the apes. We shall know it more deeper as we go to higher classes. For time being, by the study of fossils, we come to know that extinct species are there, and these extinct species resemble the organisms which are existing now also. Organisms have evolved in a course of time. So, gradual process, there is development in the body structure and the life activities of the organisms. You can observe the fossils where the deeply buried in the earth crust, the dinosaurs, the bones of the dinosaurs, and here the impression to tell you all on the sand, soil or the rocks, the impressions. Then you are observing here iceberg, under the ice, snow, the elephant is being deeply buried to tell you all. The pictures of the various fossils under various circumstances, under various conditions where these are being available. The formation of fossils, how fossils are formed. Entire body or a part of it may be embedded in the resins and get hardened in a course of time, which we just now observed. Organisms found in frozen ice, the dead remains or the whole organism is being completely covered in the snow. Dead organisms are displaced slowly with molecules of inorganic substances like silica, that is sand, SiO2, calcium carbonate, Semesunna, calcium carbonate, etc. So, with the help of chemicals, we will be preserving the remains of plants and animals also. In the form of molds, for example, the bones, seeds and the eggs. So, in this way, the fossils are being formed. To know the age of fossils, so the exact age of the fossils is being determined in mainly two ways to the 10th level of understanding. The first one is the relative method of knowing the age of fossils. What is this relative method? It is just very simple process if you observe the picture here. It is dig the earth to locate fossils, that's all. Digging the earth layer by layer. So, as we go on digging, as we start to get some of the remains of one or the other item. So, what it tells, closer to the surface, more recent fossil. Deeper layers of the earth, more ancient fossil. So, relative method is digging the earth and getting the remains of plant and animals, parts or whole animal or complete plant also. When you dig layer by layer, if you find the remains of the plant and animal in the topmost layer itself, then it is more recent fossils. But deepest layer of the earth, if you are going to get the remains of the plant and animal, then it will be ancient. The second method, radioactive carbon dating technique. Here they used carbon dating technique. Dear students, kindly remember the radioactive elements. They are very important or the unique quality. They undergo the decay spontaneously. So with that spontaneous decay, we come to know the age of the fossils also. Radioactive uranium, thorium, radioactive carbon, uranium, potassium and argon, some of the radioactive elements, even radioactive carbon dating technique also. Because the radioactive uranium decays spontaneously to lead at a constant and known rate. If you observe the picture, uranium 238, uranium 235, they are the isotopes, radioactive isotopes we call them as, where the mass number differs because the neutron number changes. So the number of years of decay, we come to know here it is being mentioned, the thorium, the plutonium, which you will study more deeper about this in your higher classes. For time being, to the 10th level, you should know two methods are there for knowing the age of fossils. The first one is the relative method. The second one is the radioactive technique. If you can observe here the pictures where evolution by stages. Stage by stage, as I told you, evolution is a gradual process. It is not a sudden process. It's a gradual process. Step by step evolution has taken place. That's why evolution by stages. The complex organs will be created bit by bit over generations. An example is being given. The rudimentary eye, just an eye spot is there in this invertebrate, mainly planaria, flatworms, Platyhelminthes phylum they come under. See, just a rudimentary eye or an eye spot in the planaria, but as the development of or as the evolution took place, the complexities in the structure of the organism started to improve. A rudimentary eye spot in planaria, when you observe the spider, you can observe more clearly the eye. And when you observe to the owl, in the picture what I am explaining for you all, dear students, the invertebrates under Platyhelminthes, the flat worm called planaria, we had only an eye spot which is rudimentary eye, we call it as. And this rudimentary eye, further in the same invertebrates under the phylum called Arthropoda, the joint-footed animals, where we can see the development of the eye more clear. Further, if you go to the vertebrates, the mammals, in the owl, more clear you are observing the eye with eyeball and all. So there is bit by bit the evolution has taken place. That's what we call evolution by stages. Here insects, there may be octopus and vertebrates they have given. Here a picture that is depicted is another one, that is the planaria with the spider and the owl. This is evolution by stages. And the next one, when you observe the pictures here, where you can see a dinosaur, and here in the middle you observe it is neither a dinosaur nor a bird. Then we have the bird here picture. What it is? The change. Change is nature's law. Badalavane naisargika niyama. You have to, according to the changes in the nature, if you want to survive, you too should adapt to those changes and you should withstand the changes. Here also the evolution is going to teach us that it has taken bit by bit the changes, and the change that is useful for one property to start with can become useful later for quite a different function also. What it means? If you observe here, the feathers in the dinosaur for insulation, to protect from cold, just for warmthness, the feathers were there in the dinosaurs. But later it became useful in birds to fly. Then what this? It is called as an Archaeopteryx. This Archaeopteryx is going to tell us that it is a link between the dinosaurs and the birds. Because there is much more development of the wing and the feathers in the Archaeopteryx. Here we see only the feathers for insulation, protection. Gradually the dinosaur developed on certain shape like a wing. But finally that insulation, for insulation the feathers were there, but those feathers gradually was useful for flying also, for flight in birds. So the change that was made for one purpose became useful for multi-purpose also. Here you can see that it is a link between the reptiles and birds. Dinosaurs are reptiles. These are birds. Archaeopteryx, which you are seeing in the middle, the picture. This Archaeopteryx, it is a link between reptiles and the birds. Why? If you observe here, feathers are scattered throughout the body for insulation. Here you can see the feathers which are arranged in the form of a wing, which is closely associated with the wing of the bird. So they tell that slow process birds existed after this Archaeopteryx, and before this Archaeopteryx there was dinosaurs, that is the reptiles. Hence the Archaeopteryx is a link between reptiles and birds. Archaeopteryx ಸರೀಸೃಪಗಳು ಮತ್ತು ಪಕ್ಷಿಗಳ ನಡುವಿನ ಕೊಂಡಿ, to tell you all in Kannada if you need it. In this way, change also in the organisms brought evolution. Artificial selection. What is this artificial selection? It's a process by which the man or a woman selects a triad or a triads which is useful for him or her for improving the qualities of domesticated plants and animals. So the desired plant variety, desired animal variety, desired color, desired shape is being obtained by the human being through artificial selection. New breed with desired traits we get. Wild forms modified through artificial selection for our benefit. What is the importance of this? The importance is able to produce varieties of several domestic animals. Changes in DNA during reproduction are the basic events in evolution. The evolution main character or the main factor that is responsible for evolution is change in DNA when during reproduction, which brings evolution. This artificial selection, one example of the cabbage, the wild cabbage that is there, it undergone, which can't be consumed. It's a forest cabbage. So the human being with his sort of technology and with his sort of IQ levels, he applied on wild cabbage, where he changed the wild cabbage into various forms which we consume as cabbage, broccoli and cauliflower and kohlrabi and kale, to tell you all. So the various forms of the wild cabbage itself, wild one converted to domestic one. One of the example for artificial selection, evolution by artificial selection. Dear students, the evolution versus progress. What is progress and what is evolution? Very important terminologies which we should get cleared up. The evolution is a development of more and more complex designs over a period of time. It's a gradual process. It is not a very sudden and a rapid process. Over a period of time, and is by environmental selection. Human beings and chimpanzees are closely related species, but both of them had common ancestor a long time ago. Gradually the human beings themselves developed certain qualities which are entirely different from the chimpanzees, and the human being race itself got separated. This ancestor diverged into several forms, and each form probably evolved in its own separate way to give rise to the present form of human beings, chimpanzees and other great apes also. They may have the common ancestor, but as they developed, as their population increased, they themselves had certain boundaries, certain norms, rules and regulations which made them to get separated from the chimpanzees, the apes. So evolution may have, what this means, common ancestor may be, but progress is the norms, rules and regulations which the population has gradually increased. They developed such sort of restricted boundaries with sort of rules, regulations and norms. This is progress. So the progress is nothing but after the evolution and the population increase, the rules, norms and regulations to retain and sustain their population, the progress is very important. Now the tools for the evolutionary relationship that has to be traced. So for tracing evolutionary relationships, the tools are excavation, time dating, where we have the radioactive time dating, fossil study, DNA sequence. All human belong to single species Homo sapiens, to tell you. So with the help of all these tools, we come to know that human beings belong to single species called Homo sapiens. Evolution versus progress. If you observe the evolution of human being in a gradual process, for your kind information. So this is evolution. Progress is the human being that was developed further started to live on the banks of the rivers and started to undergo irrigation, agriculture, which made him to build houses, which made him to grow food, which developed in him to cook the food and consume. Civilization, nagarikate, that is progress. Evolution is from a common ancestor, the life has been originated, that's all. But the life should have a purpose. The purpose of life is life for a purpose. That should be the human being's aim in his life. All great personalities in the creation who have reached the immortality, where their body might have vanished, but their works, their contribution to the society and the nation has never vanished. That's why a saying goes, he who lives for others will live forever, even though he is dead, to tell you all. So all great personalities had this sort of zeal in their hearts. That is, the purpose of life is life for a purpose. That is progress. You may evolve, but that evolution should bring in you the values, should develop in you the morality values, concern and compassion and service to the poor and the needy. Then we tell you have progressed. Here you can observe that evolution versus the progress. No doubt there is evolution step by step. Gradually the progress is civilization, culture. It started to develop. Dear students, today's part 8, the last part of this chapter, Heredity and Evolution, under state syllabus of 10th standard, we have understood and we have completed the chapter. For the better understanding of this part 8 about fossils, try to recap in your respective places and answer the questions of assignment 8. Why human beings look so different from each other in terms of size, color and looks, though they belong to the same species? In evolutionary terms, which among bacteria, spiders, fish and chimpanzees have a better body design? Why or why not? Third question, what are fossils? What do they tell us about the process of evolution? Hoping that all of you have understood the today's part 8, the last part of this chapter. As I already mentioned for all of you, this whole chapter, the value which we have to imbibe and the outcome of this chapter learning part is human being should reach God, should become God. That is real evolution. Manava should become Madhava. For that, this is the main hidden value of this chapter, which I already explained it for all of you. Dear students, hoping that you all have understood and you all will complete the assignment 8 also and be ready for the next chapter in the next session. Till then, have a good time and have a good day, offering all our content at the lotus feet of the Almighty, praying for the world's peace and happiness. Samasta lokaah sukhino bhavantu. Jai Sai Ram. Thanking you one and all.